Hey everybody, Tony Katz, TIR Nation, TIRNation.com, joined by the Vice President of the Franklin Center, FranklinCenterHQ.org, Erik Telford. Sir.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh, please, an absolute pleasure. We spoke with Tabitha Hale from Franklin Center as well about the bloggers and where do they go from here, the new media people, when they were really behind someone like a Perry. A lot of people show their support Perry out of this race. A bigger question that keeps getting asked was brought up by Kerry Pickett of the Washington Times was the concept of fatigue. Do you think people are fatigued from this process, and what happens if they are? How do you keep them engaged?
Well, I think people are tired of how long it's been drawn out, but I don't think there's really an energy gap. I think people want to be involved, they just don't know where to channel their energy. So it comes out of frustration of not knowing what to do, that it may seem like a sense of fatigue. But I think people want to be involved. They want victory in November. They want to know concrete things that they can do that will help ensure that. And unfortunately, we're getting to a point where they're not particularly excited about any of the candidates.
Right, and so you have that conversation of, is there a candidate they back? What happens if their candidate doesn't make it? Are they willing to back another candidate? And is it possible to engage in being supportive of beating Barack Obama, for example, while not necessarily throwing dollar support towards a candidate you don't necessarily like?
Well, I think there's so many things people can do short of being for a candidate. There's so much going on the other side, both of the presidential race, Senate races, gubernatorials, a lot of key congressionals, and even local elections that are going to be critical this year. So I think people need to get involved. They need to channel their energies, and how can we track what these people are saying every day, because the left is doing it to us. And we need people out there following these people every day at every one of their campaign events, at every one of these Occupy Wall Street gatherings, at every single left-wing event.
You're not talking about following in the Big Brother way. You're talking about chronicling and blogging and talking about, doing videos about what you're seeing. It's about eyes wide open kind of conversation.
Exactly. It's just telling the truth of what's happening out there. You know, we don't need to distort anything these folks are doing. We just need to inform the public of the things they say and what they believe in and what they stand for, because I think that's egregious enough. And once the American public realizes what we're up against and realizes what these people truly believe and what their vision for America is, I think it's going to ensure victory for our side.
You brought up Senate races, 23 Senate Democrats, 10 Republicans up for re-election, 33 seats. Do you think that if someone doesn't have their presidential candidate still in the race, Huntsman gone, now Perry gone, we've already seen Bachman and Kane drop out, do you think that there are enough Senate candidates out there, even if you're not in that state, to get people re-interested and reinvigorated in that manner?
I think there are, and we have a huge opportunity now to take the Senate, and I think that's probably the most important thing that we're up against, whether we have, you know, basically any of these options on the Republican side or Barack Obama. We need a strong conservative Congress, both in the House and the Senate, and to be able to ensure victory there, I think, is absolutely critical. And you look at, you know, even states like Massachusetts, I think this is a perfect example. There are a lot of folks there that want to get engaged. It's obviously not in play whatsoever for the presidential. You know, Scott Brown, who was swept in with Tea Party enthusiasm, is likely to lose that seat. Things aren't looking good. But that doesn't mean folks there don't want to do something. And I think Elizabeth Warren is one of the greatest threats to this country that we're going to see in this election cycle, and we need people out there telling the truth about what she believes, covering every one of her events, and making sure that the public can make an informed choice.
You can head over to the Franklin Center, FranklinCenterHQ.org. This is Erik Telford, the Vice President of the Franklin Center. Thank you so much, my friend. Keep it right here at TIR Nation, TIRNation.com, for all the late-breaking events from South Carolina, the debates and the primaries. Tell your friends on Facebook and Twitter. Tell them in an email, TIRNation.com. I'm Tony Katz. We'll see you soon.